All right, so we've made it to the coup de grace, intercourse. Welcome to day 29 of the boot camp, where we're going to be turning you into a sex god that really knows how to fuck a woman in a way that gets her off and makes her think that you are the best lover that she's ever had. We want to create an experience that makes her absolutely hunger for you, one that makes her want to tell her friends what an amazing stud you are. But first, let's talk about the benefits and dangers of intercourse. Now, well-done sex increases intimacy and attachment. It eases stress and improves sleep and balances hormone levels, and it boosts your libido, improves bladder control, and lowers blood pressure. It makes you both feel more connected and happier when done right. But there's some dangers too. It can lead to unwanted pregnancy, cause urinary tract infections and yeast infections, and can transmit sexually transmitted diseases and infections. No one likes to deal with yucky health problems in their nether regions, right? And an unwanted pregnancy is one hell of a mood killer for your sex life. So be smart. Get tested so that you know for sure if you do or don't have any STDs or STIs. Take a shower and wash your cock and balls with a good amount of regular soap, not the antibacterial stuff with harsh scents, because that can cause irritation for either you or her. Get properly fitting condoms if you're concerned about giving or getting an STD or an STI or causing an unwanted pregnancy. Now, if you have a big cock, get the plus-size condoms called magnums. And if you're average or small, then get the condoms that say slim or slim fit, because they'll be a little thinner and they'll stay on tighter. Brush your teeth, trim your nails, gargle some mouthwash. Wash off any body odor, and if you shave regularly, then make sure you don't have a rough 5 o'clock shadow. You want to be both delicious to her senses and clean so that you don't cause her a UTI or a yeast infection, which would, of course, reduce her availability for sex with you. Now, today we're going to be talking about vaginal sex. I consider anal sex to be an advanced technique that I'm not going to cover in the boot camp, but if you want to know about it, just let me know. So make sure that you know how to locate the vaginal opening, even in the dark. It's just in front of her asshole and just 1 to 2 inches behind her clitoris. Look up some anatomical pictures on Google if you aren't exactly sure. And if you have any trouble finding it, when the time is right, just ask her or take her hand and put it on your cock and ask her to help you find the entrance. Okay, so let's get your mind set right so that you take and make intercourse the best it can possibly be. For her to open to you fully so that you have a chance of turning her into an insatiable sex goddess that just wants to worship your cock and have you fuck her brains out, you need to address the concerns that are on her mind so that she can relax. Things like having privacy, cleanliness, STD protection, and birth control can all be a mood killer for her. And if you can address them up front, then she can relax into delicious passion. Set your attitude right also. Make it about giving her an invitation to pleasure. Don't try to convince her to have sex with you. Don't pressure her. Pressure and convincing are not sexy. The conscious cock way to do it is to make her hungry for you by being a considerate and empowered lover that takes care of everything, all the little details, so that she can really let go fully in trust and pleasure. Make your goal mutual pleasure, not your orgasm. Don't think about getting laid, but rather think about drawing out delicious pleasure as long as possible. And don't make her orgasm your goal. Make the pleasure the goal. If you make her orgasm your goal, then you might create a situation where she feels like she needs to fake an orgasm in order for you to finish having sex with her. If you just make her pleasure your goal and stay focused on her body language and her vocal cues, then you'll stay connected with what's really happening for her. Listen for any sounds of discomfort or the appearance of pulling away, even a little bit, like a little hesitation. If you see either of those, then immediately stop what you're doing and ask her if something's hurting, and then change to something else that won't hurt her. Also, set your goal that you won't have an orgasm yourself for at least 15 minutes to half an hour. And then after that you won't come until you're both ready for it. You want her to be so hot and bothered that she's literally craving your semen, so that when you eventually come, she's fiending for it and screaming, "Yes, yes, yes!" And let me assure you that there is nothing hotter than that. Okay, so let's talk about technique. First of all, don't even think of having intercourse until she is completely aroused and fully turned on. Use her level of personal lubrication as a guide. If she isn't wet enough for you to enter easily, then she isn't turned on enough yet. It's as simple as that. To get her turned on, you have to arouse her mind, her emotions, and her body. Just turning on one of those things won't do it. You have to get her to be dripping wet and so hungry to be filled by your cock that she'll literally pounce on you. To turn on her mind, you can tell her what you'd like to do to her or with her. To turn on her heart, you can tell her how you feel about her and what you appreciate about her. And to turn on her body, think massage, making out, caresses, and all forms of foreplay that we've covered. Now guys, one thing you really need to understand, don't just shove it in and pile drive into her cervix. Enter slowly and retract halfway at first. It's not a race to your orgasm. It's an enjoyment of every single second, every single stroke. Draw it out. Make the anticipation build ever higher and higher and higher. Now, the way that women are built anatomically is such that just in and out motions don't really do much for them until they're at maximum levels of arousal. And even then, you have to hit the right deep erogenous zone by the cervix and the A spot. And even then, it's hit or miss for even the same woman based on what point she is in her monthly cycle. So in and out isn't the best way to please her body. Think more side to side, circular motions, up and down, back and forth. Rhythm, not pounding. Dancing, not pounding. Lots of women are hurt by their guys just being raging bulls, and you want her to love how you fuck her, not be hurt by it. Think about her anatomy, the location and the shape of her clitoris, and have intercourse in ways that stimulate it, rather than ignore it. While having intercourse, monitor your arousal level. On a 0 to 10 scale, where 0 is no arousal, completely flaccid, and 10 is you're coming, and 9 is the point of no return, keep your arousal in the 5 to 7 range so that you don't come. If or when you get close to climax, close to that 8 or 9, pull out immediately and start giving her a hand job or oral sex, and then continue the intercourse after your arousal has lessened to like a 5 or 6 or 7. Switch to a less stimulating position and breathe deeply. Holding your breath and pounding in a very stimulating position will just make you come before you're both ready. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal technique that I've developed over the years that is surefire to drive her crazy. Masturbate your cock head against her clit and her vaginal opening. Insert your cock maybe an inch, maybe 2 into her vagina, and then rub your cock back and forth inside her vagina. Then try side to side. These motions hit the internal surfaces of her clitoris and her G-spot and her A-spot, and going fast like this may lead her to crazy good orgasms or even ejaculation. It can also help you reach an orgasm if you're both ready for you to come and you just aren't going to be able to come or reach your orgasm by intercourse alone, because sometimes intercourse alone isn't stimulating enough. So when you're ready to come and you can tell that she's ready for you to come, ask her where she'd like you to come. She might want you to come on her boobs or inside of her or in her mouth. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. And if you give it to her how and where she wants it, she's going to love it. But remember, don't make your orgasm the goal. Be the amazing man that is big enough that he doesn't even need to have an orgasm in order to enjoy having intercourse. You can always go masturbate later. Stay in the moment with her. Stay connected and track her experience and enjoyment more than your desire to get off. It shows her that you value her, and that tends to make her more open and willing to fuck you in amazing ways. But if you do come, then take a minute to recuperate, and then continue to make love to her for a while longer. This will set you apart from 99% of the guys in the world who will just turn over and fall asleep, and it'll make her absolutely wild if she's super turned on. If you've got a condom on, withdraw and take the condom off, and then continue to make love with her by using your hands or going down on her or do some massage. Draw out her pleasure and help her to come down gently. And to really cinch the deal, afterwards tell her 3 things that you really enjoyed and loved about having sex with her, that were really hot for you, like I loved it when you did that thing with your hands. And if you love her, tell her so. Using your words is one of the best ways to have sex mentally and emotionally, and it cements in her that she's safe with you and that you're congruent. Then ask her what her favorite part or her favorite technique was. Now, in all of this, don't wear yourself out. If you get tired or are working so hard that you are dripping in sweat, you aren't doing it right. Slow down and remember to focus on pleasure. Switch positions so that you don't wear out your body. Take turns being in the driver's seat. Lovemaking is about taking turns being the active partner and the receiving partner. All right, missionary position is great in the beginning. It gives you both full frontal contact, eye contact, and can be both amazingly pleasurable and very gentle. Just be super conscious not to put all of your weight on her so that she can't breathe. Be considerate. Now, cowgirl is where you're on your back and she sits on top of you. And cowgirl is great because she's in control. She controls the depth and speed and motion to get the most pleasure for her. And you get the best view in the house, and you can play with her belly and your breasts and talk to each other and laugh. It's fantastic. Doggy style is awesome for quickies and are best when she's at maximum levels of arousal and when you're ready to come. It stimulates deep vaginal erogenous zones like her A-spot and her cervix and can lead to epicenter orgasms that are absolutely earth-shattering for her, but it can be painful if you're really big or she's really small, or it's the time of her cycle when her cervix is low. So watch her body language and subtle cues to make sure that she's fucking loving it, or else ask if you're in doubt. All right, that's it for today's lesson. Let me encourage you to talk to your partner about intercourse and ask her what her favorite and least favorite things are about it. It'll give you tons of actionable information and demonstrates to her that you value her feelings and want to be a good lover to you, or lover to her. All right, hasta mañana.